burned parts of Alpine and more than 1,000 buildings. Many homes have been destroyed. We also do have two teams on the ground right now. Our Lena Howland is following protests and recall supporters who are gathering. But we're going to start with our Monica Coleman with more about what is happening right now. And Monica, you're standing by to where the president is going to be visiting with the governor and also more agencies from the Office of Emergency Services. Monica, what's the latest from where you are?
That's right, Madison. You're getting a live look of the president touching down here in Sacramento. And as soon as he gets off that plane, the president is getting to work. He's expected to go and speak with Cal OES and get a briefing about how the damage from the Caldor Fire and even the Dixie Fire has really taken a toll on our region. He's also going to see his firsthand a view of the damage in El Dorado County. He will be up in the sky taking a look down below about how the damage has really torn apart communities and families and displaced so many people. Then he'll come back down and speak with us about his plan on climate change and also, like you said, that $3.5 trillion spending plan that will help, he says, solve the issues here in California and across the West. Biden plans to also include tax incentives for clean energy and funding to move away from fossil fuels into wind and solar power operations. But like I said, Madison, he has a busy schedule, not just here in Sacramento, but after he has seen the damage from the Caldor Fire, the president plans to get back on that plane and head to Long Beach to help and support Governor Gavin Newsom in this recall election. Remember, we are one day away from the recall that is planned to take place tomorrow. The governor is up in the polls at this time, but he is hoping and campaigning that the president's support in this will take him all the way home to win this recall. Again, the president is landing right now in Sacramento. He plans to meet with Cal OES about the damages from the wildfires that have raged across our region. And then he will come brief us, the media, about how his $1 trillion spending plan will not just help California, but all states on the West Coast who are just seeing the effects of climate change right now. We are in a drought here in California. These fires are raging. Cal Fire tells us every single time these fires are nothing like we've ever seen before. And he will be briefed by Cal OES and firefighters who have been working on the ground and have seen these fires firsthand. And then he will talk about how climate change he will help climate change with his infrastructure plan, but also with his $1 trillion spending plan. Then he'll get back on the plane and head to Long Beach and meet with Governor Gavin Newsom to help campaign for the recall. Remember, Kamala Harris was just here as well, helping the governor with this recall campaign. Other high-profile Democrats have also put their hand out, helping the governor, saying that this is not just a California issue, that this is a nation issue. If the front runner right now, who is Larry Elder, the conservative talk show host, wins this thing, that it will be detrimental not just for California, but the entire nation. But here in Sacramento, again, the president is landing now. You can see, you're getting a look at this. You can see United States of America on that plane right there. That is the president in that plane, as you see right now, rolling in. And as soon as he steps off the plane, he'll be greeted by Cal OES. They will brief him on the wildfire damage here in our region. And then he will go take an aerial look of all the damages to see for himself. And then he will come and talk with us about how his $1 trillion plan will not just help us here in California, but again, all of us across the West. We're getting a live look. He's rolling in now. Let's take a look.
And again, as Monica was just mentioning, this is Air Force One touching down at Mather Airport in Sacramento. This is not only the first stop in Sacramento, but the first in California since President Biden became president of the United States. This is his first stop in Northern California. Then, as Monica said, he will be heading to Long Beach, where we also have our political reporter, Morgan Reiner, standing by ahead of that rally for Governor Newsom. President Biden, the biggest name to back Governor Newsom as he faces a recall election tomorrow. Again, we're going to be talking much more about that stop and that visit in Long Beach coming up a little bit later. But right now, again, you're taking a live look at Air Force One touching down at Mather Airport. As Monica said, he will be talking with Cal OES officials as well as Governor Newsom. Then he will be taking an aerial tour of El Dorado County, Amador County, Alpine County, parts of South Lake Tahoe, as he looks and surveys the Caldor Fire damage. Again, we are following breaking live coverage right now. We have reporters Lena Howland standing right by. We're actually going to go to Lena now to check in as President Biden and Air Force One make a stop at Mather Airport. Lena.
Well, that's right, Madison. We're here outside of Mather Air Force Base, where just moments ago we watched as President Biden arrived on his Air Force One just on the other side of that fence. As you can see behind us here, this visit did not come without protesters. We saw quite a few Trump 2024 signs and flags out here, alongside a couple of recall Newsom signs too. Now, this is President Biden's first visit to the western states since becoming president. He first made a stop in Boise, Idaho this morning to visit the National Interagency Fire Center. And here in Northern California, as you heard Monica mention, President Biden is expected to meet with emergency response workers from the state's Office of Emergency Services before surveying some of the damage from the Caldor Fire. Now, again, as I mentioned, this visit today does not come without its protesters. I want to go now to one interview we heard from one of the protesters that came to be here for President Biden's visit today. Let's go now to what he had to say.
It's time to stand up for what's right, I think. And if we don't, we're going to lose this country. And I'm just in hopes that more and more people wake up. And that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm trying to get people to take notice.
And again, that was one of the protesters that came here today in opposition to President Biden's visit today. However, this also came with quite a few supporters. We did hear a loud round of applause as soon as the Air Force One landed here outside of Mather Air Force Base. Obviously, a lot of emotions out here on both sides of the spectrum. We're going to continue to stay out here and hear these stories of the folks you see right behind me here on why they wanted to see President Biden's visit here in Sacramento. But for now, I'm going to toss it back to you, Madison.
Yeah, and Lena, today the AP was reporting that around 1,000 protesters were at Boise, Idaho for President Biden's visit there. How many protesters would you say are behind you where you're standing?
You know, I would say a couple dozen, maybe 30, 40 people, nowhere near the numbers that were reported in Boise, Idaho. Nowhere near that.
All right, Lena, thank you. Standing by live at Mather Airport.
What we're seeing, Madison.
Thank you, Lena. Live, standing by at Mather Airport. Again, we want to go right back out to that live photo and that live picture of Air Force One touching down. And we know the staircase is being wheeled out. And so we will wait for President Biden to exit Air Force One and make his way down onto the tarmac to head over to talk with OES, the local, state, and federal emergency response personnel. In terms of the Caldor Fire, the Dixie Fire still burning as we speak. We know it has been a record-setting year for wildfires in our area, also on the West Coast. But we also know President Biden did approve the emergency declaration for the Caldor Fire in early this month. So that declaration opens up funding for so many people impacted by the Caldor Fire. He previously did this for the Dixie Fire and the River Fire as well, opening up funding for FEMA emergency response to help so many who lost their homes and businesses in both of the Dixie Fire and also the River Fire and the Caldor Fire. So again, that is why President Biden is visiting Sacramento today to talk to Cal OES. He will then take an aerial view of the damage from the Caldor Fire as well. And he will then come back and speak with those who were at Cal OES and do a briefing on his response to the wildfire, what he saw here in our area. He will also talk about the bipartisan infrastructure bill. Here is President Biden now making his way off of Air Force One, down the steps onto the tarmac, where he will again talk to Cal OES and get briefed on our wildfire situation, our wildfire crisis here in Sacramento. Again, making a historic visit to California, marking the first time he has been to California since he has become president of the United States. And again, we have our Monica Coleman, who is live standing by inside the OES headquarters right now. Monica, I know he's going to head that direction. He's going to speak briefly, and then he's going to head out on an aerial tour. If you will, just talk about what exactly he's going to be talking about. Can you tell us what people with the OES are expecting for him to have as his speech today, his briefing today?
Yes, right, Madison, as you saw, President Biden walked down the steps and was immediately greeted by Governor Gavin Newsom. They're talking right now behind the Suburban car that you see in front of us, discussing the plan of the day. Like he said, he is going to be briefed also by Caldor, and then they're going to take him to El Dorado County. After that, he's going to be able to see the damage from the Caldor Fire for himself. But he really plans to talk about how his $1 trillion funding plan is going to help the climate change, and not just here in California, but also across the West Coast. And you got to remember, this is his first time being here since becoming president. And a lot of people have opposition about it. They feel like this is a campaign stunt for Governor Gavin Newsom as he's trying to win the recall. While others say that it was all a part of the plan, where he knew he was going to come here. He knew he had to address the crisis that we are dealing with in real time with climate change and the fires that are raging across our area. But he says that he has plans to put more funding towards renewable resources like wind and solar power. He also says that he is going to make sure that people understand that climate change is the reason that this is happening. You can take a look right now. Governor Gavin Newsom just got into the left side of that Suburban. On the right side is the President of the United States, Joe Biden. They are going to ride together in the Suburban on the way to meet with Caldor before they get into the get into the plane to see an aerial shot of El Dorado County. Governor Gavin Newsom just for himself a couple weeks ago went to El Dorado County to see the Caldor Fire damage, and now he's going to take President Biden to the same location so that he can fully understand what we're going through here in California, really in Northern California as well. We have seen not just the Caldor Fire, but also the Dixie Fire really rage through our region like we've never seen before, the largest fires of our time. And you can see they're now pulling away. They're in this Suburban, the one behind. They're driving away now. You can see the president and the governor are in the Suburban right now going to Caldor to get briefed about the day. But it's going to be a long day for the president. He's not just going to make a stop here. After they're done surveying the area of the Caldor Fire in El Dorado County, they're going to get on another plane and get to Long Beach so they can begin campaigning for the recall election that is tomorrow. Election day is tomorrow, and it's a big day for the governor who, at the beginning of this, said that the recall wasn't an issue and that it was just unhappy people who didn't like the policies that he was implementing during the pandemic. But we all saw in real time how that changed quickly as there was enough there was enough write-ins to make this recall become reality. And now the governor is playing ball and making sure that he has all of the heavyweights on his side when it comes to not just the president, but also Vice President Kamala Harris. You can see they're now driving away in the Suburban on their way to meet Caldor before taking that aerial shot to go watch and see the damages that are happening in El Dorado County. So many people are still displaced from the Caldor Fire, still haven't been able to return home. Although there has been repopulation in Grizzly Flats, there are still multiple people who are without a home right now, not just from the Caldor Fire, but also the Dixie Fire. You can see they are pulling away now. You're getting that last final shot as the president and Governor Gavin Newsom makes their way to go meet with Caldor before going to survey the damage from the Caldor Fire in El Dorado County.
Monica Coleman live for us on the tarmac there at Mather Airport as President Biden makes a historical visit to California. Again, as she mentioned, this is one of two visits in California today. He will be then heading to Long Beach later today. And ABC 10 political reporter Morgan Reiner is in Long Beach for tonight's rally. She's going to join us live later after Monday Night Football with a full report. Before leaving for Long Beach, the president will speak with the media. We expect that to happen a little bit before 4:30, but he is ahead of schedule, arriving before the 2:15 mark. We will bring you that live when it does happen. Thanks for watching this breaking news live team coverage. Again, we'll be right back with more news coming up.